In the bustling streets of Manila, where jeepneys paint the roads with color and markets echo with the sounds of everyday struggle, lived a young boy named Juan, a quiet, humble Filipino kid whose voice had long been buried beneath hardship. Juan wasn't born into comfort. His mother worked long hours cleaning houses, and his father, who once dreamed of being a musician, remained jobless after an accident. Their small home in Tondo shook with the noise of engines and vendors, but Juan found solace in the one thing that didn't require money: music. Every night, sitting by a broken window, he would sing softly into the warm Manila air, imitating the soulful voices he heard from old radio stations. No one knew that behind his shy smile lived a golden voice, waiting to be discovered. When a community volunteer recorded him singing on a borrowed phone and uploaded it to social media, the video spread like wildfire. Opportunities followed, and before Juan knew it, he was boarding a plane for the very first time in his life, heading to Los Angeles to stand on the world's biggest stage, America's Got Talent. His heart raced as he clutched his mother's rosary, knowing that this moment could change their destiny forever. Walking onto the AGT stage felt like another universe for Juan. The lights were brighter than anything he had ever seen in Manila, and the giant audience made him tremble with nerves. Back home, he performed in front of neighbors and stray cats, but here he stood before thousands, and in front of Simon Cowell, the most intimidating judge of all. His English was broken, his voice shaky as he introduced himself, and the judges instantly sensed his innocence. Simon leaned forward, interested in this small boy who had traveled oceans with nothing but a dream. Juan shared the truth, that music was his only escape, his only light during dark nights when hunger and worry filled their tiny home. The entire room quieted. Even before he sang a single note, the audience could feel his sincerity, his humility, his courage. The moment the spotlight hit him, Juan closed his eyes and whispered to himself, "Para sa pamilya ko." And then he started to sing. The first note that escaped Juan's lips stunned the judges. It was pure, powerful, and filled with a depth no one expected from a boy so small. He sang a classic emotional ballad, but it wasn't just the song. It was the soul behind every word. The entire auditorium fell silent, mesmerized by how effortlessly he climbed to high notes that seasoned singers struggled with. Simon Cowell's expression changed almost instantly. His eyes softened, his jaw lowered in surprise. Heidi covered her mouth. Sophia whispered, "Oh my God." The audience began cheering mid-performance. Yet Juan didn't falter. He poured out his heart as if singing for his life. His voice carried the sound of years of hardship, of sacrifice, of dreams built on hope rather than privilege. When he reached the climax, a breathtaking note that echoed through the hall, people rose to their feet, forming one of the fastest standing ovations of the season. Juan ended his song trembling, unsure if he had done enough. But the answer came quickly. Simon Cowell stood up, a rare gesture he reserved only for performances that shook him to the core. He wiped his eyes, visibly emotional, something the audience had almost never seen. "Juan," he said, "you didn't just sing, you told your story." Then he reached toward the center of the judge's desk. Time seemed to stop. Juan's heart beat, so loud, he could barely hear the cheers building behind him. And then boom! Simon slammed the golden buzzer. Golden confetti rained from above, swirling around Juan like a celebration of every hardship he had survived. His mother backstage burst into tears, falling to her knees in gratitude. Juan stood frozen before finally breaking down, covering his face as he cried. Simon walked onto the stage, hugged him, and said, "You deserve the world." The audience roared, chanting his name. Juan, Juan, Juan. In that moment, this boy from Manila didn't just win a buzzer. He won the hearts of millions around the world. Within hours, Juan's performance went viral. Social media exploded with support. Celebrities reposted him. Filipino communities worldwide celebrated him like a national treasure, and global audiences praised his humility and angelic tone. TV stations in the Philippines aired the clip repeatedly, calling him the boy who made the world cry. Journalists traveled to his neighborhood and interviewed neighbors who proudly said, "We always knew he was special." Donations poured in for his family, helping them fix their home, and finally live with dignity. Brands wanted to collaborate, vocal coaches reached out, and schools offered scholarships. Juan's story became more than just a singing moment. It became a symbol of hope for children living in poverty, a reminder that talent can rise from even the most difficult places. Through it all, Juan remained humble, always crediting his parents, his faith, and his country. "The golden buzzer wasn't just for me," he said in an interview. "It was for every Filipino kid who dreams." As the AGT competition continued, Juan prepared harder than ever. Though he had the golden buzzer advantage, he never allowed success to blind him. He trained daily, practiced breathing exercises, and learned new songs to expand his range. His dream was not only to win, but to lift his family permanently out of poverty. He often thought about his father's crushed dreams and promised himself he wouldn't waste his gift. Whether or not he eventually won AGT, Juan had already achieved something greater. He became an international inspiration. His journey proved that real talent knows no boundaries, that even a boy from the poorest corners of Manila can stand before the world and shine like pure gold. And every time he stepped on stage, he carried his people with him, the Philippines, his family, and every struggling child who needed to see that dreams can come true. His name was Juan, and his voice was a miracle,